Free Japan Channel number 179. Today, April the 1st, the first day of April. The time is 3 p.m. I'm now broadcasting this program from Mimasaka City, Okayama Prefecture, Japan. Now, in Mimasaka, it is raining. Spring rain. Dear listeners, how are you doing? Today's topic is, how will Iranian war unfold? This is the topic of today's FGC. Iranian war broke out 1 month ago. 1 month has already passed. President Trump said that this war will end in 4 weeks or so. Or he also said that this war proceeded prior to his schedule, which means US military operation was organized much earlier than planned. However, 1 month has already passed and the Iranian war is now still going on. Iranian government said that they had sufficient retaliation capacity, adding that there was no occasion that Iranian war had some intention to talk with US government about ceasefire. No, Iranian government has no intention to end the war at the time of April 1st. And I think that this war would continue for several months, or worse, a year. Then Iran is geopolitically a very important country because the world oil supply depended on that area. Hormuz Strait is a very important place for the oil export from Saudi Arabia, from Iran of course, to other countries. And the Iranian government has been reiterating that they would close this strait. Only permitted country can go in and out this strait, Hormuz Strait. Curiously enough, Japan is now included in the countries which are allowed to go through this Hormuz Strait. Iranian government has a very favorable feeling toward Japan and Japanese government or Japanese people. Iranian government has no intention to bother Japanese people's daily life. Japan, in fact, has long post-war history with the Middle East. In the 1950s, there was also an oil crisis in Iran. At that time, Iranian government declared that they would nationalize the oil facilities. Before that, British companies, so big British oil companies, were organizing these oil facilities in Iran. But at that time, Mossadegh was the prime minister of Iran, so top leader, and he declared that the oil facilities in Iran would be all nationalized which means the profit from oil export, should be the profit of Iranian people. Of course, he has the right to say so because it was the Iranian oil, not British oil at all. But at that time, British government was so furious about this Iranian nationalization, and the government, so British government, prohibited all countries from importing oil from Iranian government. However, Japanese government alone continued to import oil from Iran at the time. This is also remembered on the side of Iran still now. Therefore, this also was a part of Iranian favorable attitude toward Japan or Japanese government. But this is an exception for Iranian government that they would allow Japan to go through the Hormuz Strait. Other Western countries are now all banned from going there. West Texas Intermediate is the yardstick of oil price worldwide. A half year ago, so 6 months ago, the WTI was approximately $50 or so. Now, more than $100. Therefore, it doubled. WTI doubled because of Iranian war this time. If the war continues from now on, this WTI would rise up more and more, and this would be a catastrophe for world economy, including Japanese economy, of course. Oil is the basis of our modern life, and if this oil supply is stopped from Hormuz Strait or from the Middle East, then the whole world would also stop. This could be the economic catastrophe. This is a war which was started by President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. The US and Israel started this war. It was a preemptive attack to Iran. Iran didn't do anything at all at that time. But US government and the Israel government decided that preemptive attack was necessary for Iran to do something disastrous. But if such a preemptive attack is allowed to any country, then any country can say that they should resort to preemptive attack because they feel some threat from neighboring countries. This is an absurd argument on the side of US and Israel. However, they did the war. They started the war on the pretext of this preemptive attack. This is a war which neither US nor Israel has legitimacy to start. They have no sympathy from other countries, including Western countries. The Prime Minister of Italy, Meloni, already said that it was not the war of Italy. The same line was also repeated by the German Chancellor Merz. Merz also said that Germany had nothing to do with this Iranian war. So they feel no sympathy toward Israel nor US at all. Prime Minister Takaichi went to Washington D.C. talking with President Trump, and she blatantly said that it was Trump alone or Donald alone who could bring the world the real prosperity and the real peace. Can we say that this is an expression of friendship between Japan and the United States? A bit embarrassing word of Prime Minister Takaichi toward President Trump. Nobody can anticipate the future of this Iranian war. Therefore, the title of this broadcasting, How Will Iranian War Unfold? Of course, I cannot answer it clearly. But at least I can say that if this war continues, the world economy would collapse. Therefore, stock price would plummet drastically. Therefore, please be careful if you have some stock and if you estimate the profit from the stock trade. Of course, if you have some principle that you wouldn't buy and sell stocks so easily, then you should be relieved regardless of the stock price change. But most of the investors, individual investors, are inclined to get the profit from the temporary trade. Therefore, those investors should withdraw their money from stock market now wisely. Thank you.